It's not really happening.
It's not really happening unless it is.
I'm not just listening to you on YouTube or an audio program. It's for real. Holy shit.
Well, you can feel me besides hear me now.
Oh my God.
Tell us, what was your earliest memory?
So my earliest memory was I was a young toddler, preschool, well, I guess maybe 2 or 3. I was laying on a hard dirt floor in a rural village in southern India on a straw mat and a cotton blanket covering me. Around me is the straw walls of our little shack in a village where my family members resided. My memory before this is my mother crawled out of the bed, stood up, covered me, and when Tony asked me to feel her emotion, I felt she was troubled. I felt she was torn. Out of the love for her baby daughter, she had to make a choice of keeping this blind girl who might never become anything more than playing in the dirt with badly deformed eyes, not to marry, not to bring a dowry, not to bring pride. Or she could give the child to God and take her to the streets of Coimbatore and Tamil Nadu, where a police officer would find me and take me to the children's orphanage. And when Tony asked me to look into the perspective of God, I found God's truth. And God's truth said, the product of the sperm and egg are not what you are meant. You're to be a child for a different family. And so I'm sure God protected my mother, comforted her while she had to make that choice to give me away and leave me there on the bus stop while other children played in the schoolhouse behind me. And I, not wanting to wait around because I don't like waiting and being told to stay here and wait for me, wait till I come back for you, I decided I would explore my surroundings. And well, I was so adventurous that I took steps away from the bus stop, the bench, and decided to go back down the road to follow her. And I heard a dog barking, and that took me back to the bench where I scrambled up onto the top rail. And I was screaming and crying, and then a police officer found me, and he asked me, "What are you doing here? Why aren't you in school?" And I said, "Oh, don't worry, my mother's coming back for me." And he said, "Sure." He sat there on the bench with me, and he said, we talked for a while, and then I guess it was obvious. The wise police officer knew, looking into my badly deformed eyes, what was the truth. But of course, I didn't know. My truth was my mother was coming back for me, and my Father God had me in his hands. And so I went to the orphanage. The police officer took me to the orphanage. And I came into Canada only because of another child who was promised to my parents was ill. And for 3 times she was denied entry into Canada because of her illness, dysentery, diarrhea, fever, and the officials kept denying her entry because of her sickness. And this mummy Sandra in the Families for Children orphanage presented me to Ronald and Janet Ferris and asked if we had a new blind girl called Tangamani who had arrived in our orphanage today. Would you like to take this child and bring her into your home? Because we know that she is showing great promise here and she can be successful given the right environment. And my parents said, well, we want our original daughter, Ronnie, and as soon as she is healthy enough to travel, we want her on the first plane, but we will take Tangamani. And so I am Tangamani. It was a long time for me to accept that my Father God had a plan for me. I always felt that I was abandoned and never good enough. And I shared my story with Sophie. As you may remember, she was the woman that was volunteering in the orphanage of the South Sudan. And I praised God that she was able to rewire her brain because the world needs more Mummy Sandras, Mummy Sophies to make sure that children deserve a family and that they have a right to a family and be loved by a family and become all that they can be in North America and other developed countries in this world. And so, out of my abandonment and recognizing that God's grace is so huge and that my plan, where I am, and because of what's happening, it's all part of God's plan that's unfolding, and He's transformed me right now and here, and and it made it happen that I would be with Mr. Tony Robbins.
Perhaps in feeling me, you actually use something else. Not sight, but something more powerful. Insight. Something that so many people are missing because they're busy looking and not perceiving. But you have a gift. Your gift is your joy. Your gift is you've not let anything ever stop you. Your gift is love. It's so easy to feel. I was drawn on this side of the room to you. I couldn't see you, but I could feel you. And I know you can feel me. And we can feel everyone in this room, can't we? You can feel their love for you right now. Yeah. Yes, you can. And as your eyes look up, you're seeing something beyond me. You're seeing what has given you this gift of life and why you're a gift. Why you're a gift to so many. So many who have so much and they forget how much they have. They forget the gifts that they have. And here you are with so much joy. And some would think you're missing some of those gifts, but I see that's not true at all. God has given you, and you have given God a gift. God has given you life, and you've given God back this sense of love and joy and gratitude for all that you do have. Well, I understand you have a new friend with Sophie, so I want to make sure that Sophie and whoever also would travel with you, you come to leadership because you're going to be a leader for our group if you'd like to be, for sure. We bring you as our guest. No question. You have so much to give, so much to give.